Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of sources, articles, research our own notes, and pull out the really key bits of knowledge for you.
Right. The goal is getting you up to speed quickly.
Exactly. With some surprising facts, maybe a bit of humor. Today we're diving into, well, one of history's most famous, and let's face it, controversial relationships. Julius Caesar and Cleopatra.
And it's so much more than just a love story. People often miss that.
Totally. This was high-stakes geopolitics. It reshaped Rome, it transformed Egypt, and it directly actually led to the Roman Empire.
Every detail was part of a bigger game.
So let's unpack this story. Power, passion, betrayal, and a baby named Caesarion. Okay, set the scene. It's 48 BCE. Caesar has just smashed Pompey in the Roman Civil War.
Big victory at Pharsalus.
Right. So he chases Pompey to Egypt, but when he gets there, Pompey's already dead, murdered.
Yeah, by agents of the young pharaoh, Ptolemy III, trying to curry favor with Caesar, presumably.
Bad move.
Terrible move.
Yeah.
And Egypt itself, it's just chaos. Absolute chaos.
Like...
Civil war brewing there, too. Between Ptolemy XIII and his sister, Cleopatra.
Exactly. Enter Cleopatra VII. She's Ptolemy's sister, supposed to be co-ruler, but she's just been pushed out in a nasty family power struggle.
She's only 21 at this point.
21. But apparently brilliant, very bold. And here's where that famous legend kicks in.
The rug.
The rug. Or maybe a linen sack, depends on source. She has herself smuggled into Caesar's palace.
I mean, talk about making an entrance straight to the man in charge.
You can just picture it.
Okay.
She wants to plead her case directly. Caesar's 52, seasoned general, politician, and he's reportedly captivated.
Captivated, sure. But let's immediately pivot from just romance to strategy here. This wasn't just about, a dramatic meeting.
No, definitely not.
This was pure realpolitik for Cleopatra. It was a calculated move. She knew Caesar's support was the only way she could get her throne back.
Her only path.
And for Caesar, Egypt was incredibly wealthy, the breadbasket, essentially, strategically vital. But it was also unstable. Backing Cleopatra gave him enormous leverage, control, really.
So a massive opportunity for both, despite the risks.
Huge risks, huge potential rewards.
And the consequences were immediate. Caesar backs Cleopatra and boom, civil war erupts in Alexandria.
The Alexandrian War. Ptolemy's forces actually besiege the palace. Caesar and Cleopatra are trapped inside.
Intense fighting, parts of the city burn. And this is where, tragically, historians think the Great Library of Alexandria might have been damaged.
Yeah, the sources are a bit murky on the extent, but it seems likely some scrolls were lost in the fires during the fighting near the harbor. A potential cultural disaster stemming from this power play.
It really highlights the cost, doesn't it? Anyway, Caesar eventually gets reinforcements. Ptolemy III dies.
Drowns in the Nile while fleeing, according to some accounts. Kind of ignominious.
And Cleopatra gets her throne back. But now she's ruling with her younger brother, Ptolemy IV. Can't keep these Ptolemies straight sometimes.
No. Dynasty gets complicated.
But here's the real twist. Cleopatra is pregnant.
Right. And in 47 BCE, she gives birth. A boy. Officially, Ptolemy XV Philometor Caesar.
But known to history as Caesarion. Little Caesar.
Now, Caesar never officially, publicly acknowledged the boy as his son.
But Cleopatra insisted he was the father.
She did. And crucially, a lot of people in Rome believed her, or at least they worried about it. It was a potent symbol, regardless of official recognition.
For Cleopatra, it must have felt like cementing her alliance, right? Tying Egypt's future to Rome's leader.
Potentially, or at least strengthening her own position immensely. For Caesar. Well, that's complicated. A link to Egypt's wealth, yes, but also a huge political liability back in Rome.
And that liability walks right into Rome in 46 BCE. Cleopatra visits, bringing Caesarion with her.
Sets up shop in a lavish villa just outside the city limits. Caesar couldn't exactly house her in Rome itself.
But he still showers her with honors. Controversial ones, like placing a golden statue of her in the Temple of Venus Genetrix.
Which was the temple dedicated to the mythical ancestor of his family, the Julian clan, connecting a foreign queen to his divine lineage.
You can imagine how that went down with the Roman elite.
Oh, it was a nightmare scenario for them. The conservative senators, the old families, they were horrified.
A foreign queen living openly nearby with a child many believed was Caesar's heir.
It fueled all their worst fears. That Caesar was ditching Roman tradition, aiming to be a king, maybe even making her his queen, and Caesarion, maybe his successor.
It just fed right into the narrative that he'd lost touch with Roman values,
Yeah.
that he wanted absolute power.
Exactly. It solidified their suspicions. It made him look like he was setting up some kind of Eastern-style monarchy.
How much do you think this specific relationship, this visit, accelerated the plot against him?
It's impossible to draw a direct causal line, like this was the final straw. But did it add fuel to the fire? Absolutely. It gave his enemies potent ammunition. It made their claims about his kingly ambitions seem much more plausible to more people.
It certainly didn't help him win friends among the traditionalists.
No. It was seen as another example of him overreaching, ignoring Republican norms.
And then comes the climax. March 15th, 44 BCE, the Ides of March.
Stabbed to death. Right there in a meeting room adjacent to the theater of Pompeii, ironically, by a group of senators claiming to save the Republic.
Brutal. And Cleopatra, what does she do?
She gets out fast. She flees Rome with Caesarion, heads straight back to Alexandria.
Smart move.
Very. She realizes Rome is about to explode into even more chaos. She needs to be back on her home turf, secure her base, and, well, play the longer game, calculate her next move.
And Rome does explode. Total chaos after the assassination.
Yeah.
Power vacuum.
Exactly. Years of brutal civil war follow.
Cleopatra, she's watching all this from Egypt. And she's a player. Always a player. First, she briefly sort of backs Caesar's assassin.
Cautiously, hedging her bets initially, perhaps.
But then, pretty quickly, she shifts. She forms a new, powerful alliance.
Yeah.
This time with Mark Antony.
Caesar's right-hand man, loyal general, charismatic figure, and now a major contender for power.
And they become, well, more than just allies. Lovers again. Eventually, parents to 3 more children.
A new power couple emerges. But this one feels even more entangled, perhaps more genuinely passionate, but just as politically charged.
And Antony does something Caesar never did. He publicly names Caesarion as Caesar's true son and heir.
Whoa. That's a direct challenge, a massive one.
To whom?
To Caesar's legally adopted heir, his grandnephew, Octavian.
The future Augustus.
The very same. Antony is essentially saying, my ally's son, Caesarion, is the real son of Caesar, not you, Octavian. This sets them on an unavoidable collision course.
So Octavian has to respond.
And he does, brilliantly, from a propaganda perspective. He doesn't just declare war on Antony, his Roman rival. He declares war specifically on Cleopatra.
Framing it differently.
Totally. He paints her as this dangerous foreign temptress, this Egyptian queen corrupting good Roman leaders like Antony, threatening Roman values, Roman security. It becomes Rome versus the decadent East.
Makes it a patriotic war, not just another squabble over power.
Exactly. Very clever framing. And it works. Public opinion in Rome rallies behind Octavian.
A decisive battle comes in 31 BCE. Actium.
A massive naval battle. Octavian wins decisively. Antony and Cleopatra manage to escape, but their forces are shattered.
The end is near. A year later, Octavian's legions are marching on Alexandria at their gates.
Antony dies first. Suicide, believing Cleopatra is already dead. Then Cleopatra. Well, the famous story involves an asp. Suicide as well.
And with their deaths.
That's it. The end of the line for Ptolemaic Egypt. 3 centuries of rule, gone. Egypt becomes a Roman province.
And Caesarion, the boy who started so much of this trouble, in a way.
He's captured, maybe tried to flee south, but Octavian finds him,
And
executes him without hesitation.
the message couldn't be clear.
Chillingly clear. Octavian reportedly said something like, too many Caesars is not good. There is only one heir, one son of Caesar in the political sense.
And it's me, Octavian.
Precisely. With Antony, Cleopatra, and Caesarion all gone, the path is clear. Octavian becomes Augustus, the first Roman emperor.
Wow. What a story. So we've followed all the twists and turns, but let's pull back. This relationship, Caesar and Cleopatra, what did it actually change in the grand sweep of history?
Well, like you said at the start, pretty much everything, in some ways.
Okay, first big impact.
Egypt. It lost its independence completely. No more pharaohs. It becomes a Roman province, but a special one, almost the emperor's private property. Its wealth now flows directly to Rome, fueling the empire for centuries.
Right. Huge shift in the Mediterranean power balance. Second.
Caesar's own fate and the Republic's. His relationship with Cleopatra, the honors he gave her, his perceived kingly ambitions, it absolutely contributed to the justification for his assassination.
Which ironically didn't save the Republic.
Not at all. It triggered the final round of civil wars that destroyed the Republic and led directly to Octavian Augustus establishing the empire. So in a way, the affair helped kill the man, which in turn killed the Republic.
Okay, third point.
Caesarion's death. Think about the what if. His execution erased a whole potential alternate future.
What kind of future?
Maybe a hybrid Romano-Egyptian dynasty. A different kind of empire centered, perhaps more around the Eastern Mediterranean. We'll never know. But his death cemented Rome's purely Western-centric imperial path under Augustus.
Fascinating what if. And finally.
The myth.
Yeah.
Beyond the politics, their story just exploded into legend. Shakespeare, art, poetry, movies. They became the iconic doomed power couple.
Romanticized for millennia.
But we have to remember the cold truth beneath the romance, right?
Always.
This was a high-stakes game. Two incredibly ambitious rulers who saw the world shifting under their feet and tried to grab the wheel together. They weren't just swept away by passion.
No, they gambled.
They gambled with empires. And ultimately, while their dynasty didn't survive, their actions fundamentally reshaped the one that did.
It's such a stark reminder, isn't it? How these deeply personal connections and ambitions, especially right at the top, can echo down through centuries, completely altering the course of history.
Absolutely.
It really pushes you to look beyond just the headlines or the romance and see the strategy, the calculation, the long-term consequences. History's layers are right there if you just keep digging.